In this video, we are going to go through the pressure chamber. So the pressure chamber is another assembly that we're going to do. Last week, we did the rocker assembly, and that was the first assembly we've done. And this assembly right here is kind of like a little pressure pot type thing, where you have your base chamber right here. Then you have your top plate, and then you have a little gasket to kind of help make an airtight seal, and then we have a bunch of bolts. So similarly to the last one, the overall assembly is comprised of several individual parts. In this case, we have 3 parts and then screws. So the parts are going to have to be 3 separate part files, and then the screws can be imported from the main library that I referenced last class, like the content center. So we'll get to that later. So we are in metric, and we'll do the cover plate first. So let's talk through the cover plate a little bit. What's the diameter of this one? Well, it seems to be diameter is 100 for all 3 parts actually. Then we have a hole in the middle, and you can see by looking over here we have the little threads. So it's not just a smooth hole, it's actually like a bolt hole. It's threaded. And then we have small holes over here. These are smooth ones, and there are each of them are 10 millimeters in diameter, and this has 16 holes, but I only see 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's because that includes this circle and this circle right here. And all of these holes are located on a bolt circle right here. Do we see where that diameter is? Yeah, it's right here. A 75 millimeter diameter BC, a bolt circle. Okay, so this is made out of steel, and it is 13 millimeters thick. So let's go. Over to Inventor, we're going to create a new metric part. And we're going to do, let's do I think it's the XZ plane that I think would make this look the best. The XY plane probably won't be the best looking one because then it'll look rather sideways. So I'm going to start by doing this on the XZ plane. And I'm going to do a circle in the middle with a diameter of 100. And I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it for the sketch. And I will extrude that up, what did I say, 13. And then I'll make the material some kind of steel. I don't like that color though. You can always change the color. It doesn't really matter as much as long as the material is good. Okay, so now I'm going to put this hole in the middle. As you can see, this hole is not a regular smooth hole. It says M24 by 3. And what that basically is saying is this hole has threads, which suggests that it's going to be holding like a bolt. These are threads right here. So M24 by 3, the M is for metric. 24 is kind of like the diameter of this hole. And then by 3 has to do with the threads per inch, or the pitch type of this. So we have something like 3 threads per inch, or I forget if that's exactly accurate, but it's along those lines. So let's show you how to do it on Inventor. So we go to Inventor, and I'm going to do a hole, and I'm going to do a concentric hole. A concentric hole, of course, as you should know, means 2 circles with the same center. I believe that on your version, again, I have 2018, you have 2020, that you don't have to do this step, but we are doing concentric holes regardless. So the plane, this plane, concentric to what? Concentric to this outside circle. And now we have to specify that we don't have a smooth hole, we have a drilled threaded hole. So right here is where you see the type of drill. Over here is where you see like how the walls of the drill are going. And we don't have a simple drilled anymore. We have this one over here. So I'm going to click that because we have a drilled hole. Then I have different thread types. And We have ANSI, which I believe stands for American National Standards Institute. And then unified screw is just a type of threads. I believe that's the one we use for English, but because we are a metric, we're going to do this drop down and say metric M profile. The size is essentially the diameter again. We have size 24 here. And 24 by 3 happens to be the first one, but you could have changed it if it was something different. And that's it. I'm going to hit OK over here. And we have that one down. It normally looks a little better than that. That kind of looks a little funky. I don't know why the colors are weird, but I believe we did it right. So now we're going to do these other holes over here. And if you try and create a hole, you'll probably realize that, ooh, how do I make the hole where I want it to be? You might be tempted to do like the references, but we don't have any horizontal or vertical lines to offset. We only have circular ones. So we actually can't do the linear one. So before we're actually able to create these holes right here, we need to create another sketch that contains a construction circle that we can use as reference. So I'm going to create a new sketch right on top. And I'm going to make this a construction circle with a diameter of 75. And I'm also going to create another circle just somewhere, either here or here I would do. And I don't really care the diameter. You'll see what I'm doing in a minute. And then I'm going to hit finish sketch. Now I'm going to create another hole. But this hole I'm going to do from sketch, which I believe for you just means you have to choose the center of this circle right here. And all that these two circles that I created on the sketch did for me was give me the ability to choose this center right here. There's probably an easier way. That's just the way that I know how to do it, so that's how I'm showing it. This one's a simple smooth one, so I'm going to do that, and the diameter I believe was 10. And I'm going to click right here. Boom. And that's just one hole, but I'm not going to do it for all 7 other ones. I'm going to do the circular pattern. So the circular pattern is over here, and watch the steps. I'm going to hit circular pattern, and then you have to choose the features you want to have become a pattern, which for me is this right here. So I'm going to click, and because that's the only one, you have to come over here to rotation axis, click it, and now choose the circle or the arc path that you want this to rotate about its center. So I can either do this circle or that circle. And a bunch of previews come up. Now you tell it how many instances you want total, including the one you have. So I want 8 total. Boom. Okay, we're done with that one. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to create a new folder and call this Pressure Chamber. And I believe this one was called the top plate, cover plate. Okay. Now I'm going to do the gasket right here. And you can either do this from scratch, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this, and then I'm going to edit it. Okay. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to call this the gasket plate. And now by doing another Save As, I'm essentially making a copy of it. I'm going to change this material to rubber. And I'll make the material color just go back to the default, which is clear override. And the extrusion for this is not as much, so I'm going to go over here to Edit Feature, and this is only 3 millimeters thick. Okay, and this hole right here, I'm going to delete this hole, or I'm going to edit it. So this is hole number 1. let's edit the feature. And we're going to make it a smooth one this time, and we're going to make the diameter 60. Okay, and now we are done with the gasket plate. So we can do File, Save, and we're good with that one. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left this video. Let's start the base chamber. I think we can do it. Actually, nah, I don't want to rush. We'll call that it for the first video.